first time I felt God present in my life was when I was a little girl. We were raised in the church, and I was the fourth child down out of 5 kids. So I had nobody except for God. Being raised in the church, I was taught through them that God's there for you always. He's always going to be there for you. He's your only father, and that's the way I lived, is through him being my father, and he's the only father I ever recognized in my lifetime, because I felt like I didn't have a father at all. Whenever I was in prison, my relationship with God was I was very angry at him. I did not want anything to do with him. I didn't want no part of him, so I closed myself up in the library, and I read every book in the library, I think, but God was not part of my life at that time. He came back into my life after I got out of prison because of the people that I had working with me, or the person. There was one person that I had working with me, and she pulled me back into God, realizing that he was my father. He's the only father I ever had, and that he could help me because I had no other father. And that's whenever I turned back to having God into my life. My relationship with God after I got out of prison was bad because I was weighing 200 pounds. I felt ugly. I was ashamed of myself for being in prison, and I needed his robust energy to build me back up. And it took a long time to do it, for me to trust him again, because I was blaming him all along for me to go to prison. I wasn't justifying it. I did it myself. And my friend that I had, Liz, she is the one that taught me and told me and got me back with God, opening all the doors that I had whenever I was a child and felt so secure and safe. She opened them all back up after I got out of prison. And that's where I'm at now, is with God and happy. Could not ask for a better life, it doesn't seem like, because everything goes in the direction that God leads it in. I give him all hope, all satisfaction. He's my father. He's the only father I'll ever have. Whenever God came back into my life changed. It seemed like all of a sudden everything started going right. Everything that I asked for was happening. Anything that I needed was being provided. I was becoming happy again, which I had lost through the time of being in prison again. I had lost being happy at all. And I just hated the world, but she showed the light to me to where I'm happy now. I'm happy with my life totally. I don't want to change a thing except get closer to God is the only thing that I really want and need to do. The things that help my relationship continue and grow with God is talking to him. And that's the top most important thing that I can see, is just talking to him every day, and night or day, 24 hours a day. He's always there listening, always. And it is just makes me happy whenever I talk to him. It makes me feel good. It makes me want to talk more. And I can tell him anything. I can tell him everything. And there's no judgment on me, and that's what I like, is I can just say whatever I want whenever I'm talking with him, and that makes me feel good and comfortable. The one thing I would say to God if he was here right now is thank you. for pulling me out of the depths of hell that I was in and bringing me to where I am today.
The first time that I felt that God was part of my life was a pretty scary one, that I was afraid of Him, that I wasn't good enough for Him, and that it was just a bad thing since. God became a meaningful part of my life in January 2006, where I had just gotten out of Butte County Jail. I had taken some Bible studies out of the garbage can to do, and it just caught my eye, and I kept continuing doing the Bible studies, and continued from the time that I was released and beginning my recovery. And He did lots of wonderful things for me. He delivered me from alcohol and drugs, and no withdrawals, anything like that. It was just, He just picked me up and put me in a whole different setting, to where I was in this program that was really structured, and it was structured by the love of God. I learned that God is love, and that He's real. And I really liked that. I really felt alone. I felt hope, such great hope, reading those studies and doing those studies. During the time I was in prison, God was with me, but I always felt like I wasn't worthy enough of Him. I did get a Bible and read a Bible and do studies and go to the churches and sleep with my Bible and read it a lot, even though I didn't understand it. But it didn't really sink into me. Is after I got out of jail, I did these Bible studies, and I continued to do them. I probably did like 50, and loving to read the Bible, and did a lot of journaling, and went to Bible studies 5 days a week, and went to church 3 times a week. And the people were so nice, and that I could really see the love of God, and that I learned that He was real, and that He did love me too, and I was His child. Well, when God was real in my life, I cut out all the feeling sorry for myself. I just had a whole different outlook on life. I had hope in something where I never had that before. I had a feeling of wrongness about me, about everything that I was about. When I got out of prison, I went to a place called the Sabbath House, and they were for women and women with children, and they met every need that I had. And I did a program like Prop 36, which was very structured, and I quit hanging around with all my old friends, and my life began to change. I would like to thank Him for His loving kindness and for His patience with me. Because He's been chasing me all my life, I just didn't know it. And I'd love to thank Him, and I would love to be able to receive His salvation so that I can see Him face to face and know what He's all about. I served the Lord by being klutzy the clown, going to rehabs and rest homes and hospitals and physical therapies, to just bring a little joy, little smiles to people. I get the most smiles.